Welcome to Module 3. We're focusing on the thyroid because it's one of the most commonly suspected causes of fatigue and one of the most misunderstood. In this module, you'll learn what the thyroid actually regulates, what it doesn't, and how to interpret thyroid labs in a clear, accurate way. You'll also see how the thyroid fits into the broader energy system, and why normal thyroid tests can still exist alongside the symptoms you're experiencing. In this module, we'll walk through how the thyroid sets the pace of your metabolism, how labs reflect the communication between the brain and the thyroid, and what normal results actually mean. We'll also touch on what supports thyroid health in everyday life. Along the way, you'll see how the thyroid fits into the overall picture of how your body regulates energy, so it feels more understandable and less abstract. The thyroid helps set the pace of your metabolism. It adjusts its signals in response to sleep, stress, and nutrition to help keep temperature, heart rate, and digestion steady. When thyroid levels are too low or too high, that pacing can be disrupted. But most day-to-day fatigue patterns occur when thyroid function is normal. It's an important part of the system, but it works alongside many other factors that influence how you feel. TSH stands for thyroid-stimulating hormone. It's the signal the brain uses to guide how much thyroid hormone the thyroid should produce. In response, the thyroid makes mostly T4, which acts as a reservoir form of the hormone. T4 is then converted into T3 within tissues, where each area can create the amount it needs. When TSH and free T4 are both in the normal range, it indicates that this communication loop is functioning as expected and the thyroid is doing its job. TSH and free T4 are the core tests we use to evaluate thyroid function. TSH reflects how the brain is signaling the thyroid, and free T4 shows how the thyroid is responding to that signal. When both of these results are normal, we can reliably rule out hypothyroidism. That tells us the communication loop is intact, and the thyroid is producing the hormone your body needs. Other tests are used only in specific situations. For example, when we're assessing for hyperthyroidism or looking at autoimmune risk. But for understanding whether the thyroid is functioning, TSH and free T4 give us the essential information. T3 is the active thyroid hormone, but most of it is created inside your tissues by converting T4 into exactly what each area needs. Because that conversion happens locally, the T3 measured in the bloodstream doesn't always reflect how well your tissues are using thyroid hormone. So a lower T3 on a lab result can be unsettling to see, but it rarely indicates a thyroid problem when TSH and free T4 are normal. More often, it reflects temporary situations like stress, underfueling, or recovery from an illness, things the body can recalibrate from. T3 is most helpful when we're evaluating hyperthyroidism because it can rise earlier in that condition. When TSH and free T4 are normal, we can trust that the thyroid system is functioning and that your body has access to the hormone it needs. Your symptoms are real. They just often come from patterns in sleep, stress, or daily rhythm rather than a missed thyroid disorder. Subclinical hypothyroidism has a very specific definition, and treatment decisions are based on strong evidence. We recommend medication when TSH is 10 or higher, or in situations like pregnancy or certain heart conditions or symptom patterns. These are the scenarios where treatment clearly improves health outcomes. When TSH is only mildly elevated, studies show that thyroid medication does not reliably improve energy, mood, or weight. In many cases, the thyroid is still functioning, and the higher TSH reflects temporary stress, illness recovery, or individual variation. TSH also rises naturally with age. A higher number doesn't always signal disease. It can be part of the body's normal physiology over time. Let's look at what truly supports thyroid health and what can get in the way. Balanced nutrition with enough iodine, iron, and selenium helps your thyroid make thyroid hormones efficiently. But unnecessary elimination diets or cutting entire food groups can create nutrient gaps that interfere with that process. Getting enough calories throughout the day keeps your metabolism steady and responsive. Severe restriction or fasting sends your body into conservation mode, slowing things down. Regular, restful sleep supports healthy thyroid signaling. Chronic stress or sleep loss can throw those signals off balance. Consistent movement improves circulation and hormone regulation. High-dose or unregulated supplements, on the other hand, can easily cause imbalance. Your thyroid works best when it's supported with stability, not pushed to extremes. The thyroid helps set your body's pace, but it doesn't act alone. Normal thyroid labs mean your gland is doing its job, even if you still feel off. True thyroid health comes from supporting the whole system around it: how you eat, sleep, and manage stress. In the next module, we'll explore that stress system in detail, how your brain, hormones, and nervous system work together to regulate energy, focus, and resilience.